Good evening. Thank you for joining us here for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Whitney Ward. Mark is off tonight. We begin with news from the Spokane County Courthouse, where a man is accused of running over a cyclist with a tow truck, and he's now on trial. Jonathan Reiser is facing charges of vehicular homicide. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley was the only media in the courtroom today. She's bringing us the latest.
In June of 2020, Carrie Wiltzius went on an early morning bike ride here on State Route 206 when she was struck by a tow truck. She was flung from her bike off to the side of the road. She died a few days later due to brain injuries from the incident. The driver of that tow truck, Jonathan Reiser, is now on trial for vehicular homicide. This is the second week of the trial, and today we heard from another cyclist who says he was nearly run off the road by the same driver just before the fatal incident.
Swerved close to me, about 2 or 3 feet. I gave it a fist, and then it continued, and I continued. And then, I don't know how far it is, quarter mile, if that. I saw a bunch of commotion in the road. Some people running from one house, a car stopped, and then a mangled bike on the road, someone lying in a ditch.
That someone was Carrie Wiltzius. She was a wife, mom, and grandmother who loved being involved in the Spokane community.
She was our cheerleader.
Her 3 daughters, Cara, Dawn, and Katie, say they were always inspired by her tenacity to keep moving. In fact, Carrie spent the last 9 years competing in triathlons after seeing Dawn finish one.
She saw women in their 90s doing the triathlons, and she felt like it was something that she could do.
All 3 of her daughters have sat in court for the suspect's trial. Every day, they wear these necklaces Katie had made in honor of their mom.
I wanted a way to carry her with me, and so these are azaleas and hummingbirds was always our thing.
They will wear these mementos throughout the trial, keeping Carrie close to their hearts. Attorneys are expected to give their closing arguments tomorrow. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Over the weekend, police shot and killed a man who took a hostage at a popular travel stop in Montana, right near the Idaho border. Law enforcement had received a tip that 2 men suspected of an armed robbery in Idaho had been spotted at the St. Regis Travel Center. One person was arrested there at the scene without incident, but the Mineral County Sheriff's Office says the other suspect took and later shot a hostage. That's when law enforcement said they had to shoot and kill the suspect. The injured hostage was then taken to the hospital. In other news, Eastern Washington Representative Cathy McMorris Rodgers, as well as other House GOP leaders, unveiled their plans to lower gas and electricity rates. So House Energy and Commerce Committee members are hoping to increase production and exports of American energy and cut back on current regulations. In a statement, McMorris Rodgers says life is becoming unaffordable for many Americans and blames President Biden's energy policies. However, many oil industry analysts say rising gas prices are actually caused by business decisions made by oil companies during the pandemic, not the Biden administration. GOP lawmakers, though, hope to pass the bill by the end of the month. Well, there are 2 new candidates running for Spokane City Council seats. Paul Dillon and Randy McGlenn announced their intentions for City Council Districts 2 and 3. Dillon will be stepping away from his role as the VP of Public Affairs for Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho. That's to avoid potential conflicts of interest. If he is elected to that District 2 seat, Dillon says he'll focus on putting impacted neighborhoods and communities on public safety, housing, and homelessness. Meanwhile, McGlenn serves as the community representative for the West Central neighborhood. He says if elected to the District 3 seat, he'll focus on public safety, homelessness, and increasing affordable housing options. All right, let's take a quick break from the headlines and let's talk weather. It turned out not to be a bad day for the first day of spring. A little bit of sun, some clouds, maybe some rain depending on where you were. Let's send it over now to our meteorologist, Michelle Boss, for a quick look at how the rest of the work week is shaping up.
Yeah, so folks were wondering, where's that rain you were talking about that we were supposed to get here in Spokane? We missed it by about 30 miles. It made it about up to Sprague, Washington along I-90, and then just has not been able to move farther north. So you can see that some folks have been dealing with a soggy, wet wet first day of spring, but again, it's just been a little bit to our southwest, our west, and our south, and it looks like we are going to keep the clouds around that we've seen this afternoon, but things are going to stay dry here in Spokane. But these precipitation totals are from last hour, so you can probably add another 100th or 200ths of an inch to that. Generally less than a 1/10 of an inch overall from Harrington down to Moses Lake, also around Ritzville, Washtenaw, down towards the Washington and Idaho Palouse. Again, seeing some light rain, generally under a 1/10 of an inch, but they're probably going to be still seeing that soggy weather over the next several hours. Temperatures where we stayed dry, like here in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, and Sandpoint, made it up into the lower 50s and actually wasn't a bad first day of spring, but it was cooler in those areas that did see the wet weather. Only 44 in Ritzville, under 50 degrees in Moses Lake, and a very chilly 38 right now in Moscow. The next 12 hours look like this. Again, we will have the cloudy skies, but it looks like it should stay dry. We'll see the clouds clear out tomorrow afternoon and be back in the lower 50s, and Wednesday's looking pretty fabulous with sunshine and 56.
Fabulous indeed. Thank you very much, Michelle. The grand jury investigating former President Donald Trump heard from another witness today. They're now scrutinizing business records for hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election. Over the weekend, Trump claimed that he would be arrested tomorrow and called for protests. Here's Astrid Martinez now reporting.
My only mission there today was to tell the truth.
A New York grand jury heard from attorney Robert Costello as it investigates hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 presidential election. Costello challenged the credibility of Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen, who testified last week and pleaded guilty in 2018 to making the payments.
Stormy Daniels had negative information that she wanted to put in a lawsuit against Trump. So Michael Cohen decided on his own, that's what he told us, on his own, to see if he could take care of this.
The Manhattan district attorney is digging into Trump's role in the payments.
Really what we're talking about is the falsification of business records, which is typically a misdemeanor, but it's going to be kicked up, we think, to a felony.
Over the weekend, the former president took to social media indicating he will be arrested Tuesday and urged his supporters to, quote, protest, take our nation back. Officials here in New York are gearing up for the possibility of Trump's indictment and preparing for protests. On Monday, NYPD officers began setting up barricades near the downtown courthouse complex. There is concern Trump's words could trigger violence, similar to January 6.
Let me be very clear. No matter what transpires, and this doesn't mean this is going to happen, but if was this to happen, we want calmness out there.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a potential 2024 presidential campaign rival, criticized the Manhattan DA.
He chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments. You know, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda.
Trump, who has declared his 2024 candidacy, has denied any wrongdoing. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.